Hey everyone, I'm Ray and welcome back to another Sims 3 speed build video. So I wanted to take this opportunity to do a bit of a building tips style video, just because I still don't feel like playing my game yet. I've been in very much a building mood lately, and so I'm gonna take advantage of that. And this was very much a random build of a random house and a random save. It has no agency on anything that I'm doing, it's just something that I felt like doing. And since I've been trying to get better at doing some commentary through these builds, and I normally like to try to talk about the builds and I don't have much to say, I thought I should do a little bit of a commentary. So, I've been asked before, I guess, how do I build, or how do I get good at building, or how have I started building? And really truly the end of that discussion is mostly practice. Just do it a lot. I build for what is probably an ungodly amount of time in this game. There are times when I probably spend hours upon days upon weeks building lots to play a game that then I play for like 5 minutes and then I end up doing something else. So, you know, that's the joy of The Sims though. But if you don't know, when I'm building, like, pretty much 100% of my builds, I have a reference picture. There is normally always a picture that I'm looking at the same time to give myself ideas, and that normally starts with me going on Google and typing in something completely random into the search box, like modern house or Tudor house or big Victorian mansion or big castle house, stuff like that. Like, I don't know architecture. I couldn't tell you the exact like terminologies of stuff, so really it's complete obliviousness in all honesty. But that's really where this starts. So we're gonna be building a house, very tiny house, because I favor small builds. That's just me. You don't have to build this tiny, by the way. That's just, I just enjoy small builds. So this is only a 20 by 20 lot, but we're gonna be building off of this reference, and this is in a little small build that I was working on. So again, the reference came from Google, just typing in, I think this one was like modern. Is this contemporary? Like, what is this, contemporary? I don't even know. I don't know. Okay, but this is the house that I'm going to be mimicking. And normally when I go in with a reference, it's one or two things. Either I'm trying to replicate the build, whether it be the shape of the house, or I'm just trying to, I like the color palette of the house, whatever that may be. In this case, I'm actually replicating the actual house build, and normally these start with me actually trying to replicate the house, and then I tweak it as I go. If something doesn't look right in game, I will undo it or change it. I'm never locked into having to exactly match what I'm doing, but I will try to match it closely. So I'm gonna make sure the reference stays at the bottom here, and you can already see it taking shape at this point through me babbling in the background, but really truly I'm just going based off of that picture that you see, and I'm trying to follow the build. And at this point I think I realized the way I wanted to build this and the way the lot was placed, I had to move everything over by 1 block, so that's fun having to do that. And I use constrained floor elevations a lot to do an attached garage and all this other good jazz, so this was a pain in the butt. I had to move over the entire build so that I could build, because I wanted to use constrained floor elevations on the roof, and this got messy, so just ignore this part. This was more me not really paying attention to what I was doing and how close I was building it. But at this point in time, all my goal really is to just try to get the basic shape of the house. I'm not really caring too much about the interior or what's going on the inside. I'm just trying to get the outside structure of the house. And even the house that's next to this one there, it was built using the same method. Just, I got a picture, got a reference, and I was like, let me try to replicate this in The Sims. And at some point, which I'll let you know because I'm pretty sure I can tell when it is the case, I just sort of stop playing with looking at the reference in general, and I'm just kind of going off of whatever I think feels right, which is generally what I'm doing. So if you never really know or where to start, because I get it, a completely flat lot of nothing, it can be kind of daunting and you're like, where do you even start? That's normally where I start, finding a picture. So don't be afraid to go on Google and be like, give me a picture of a family home or something like that, and then just go in game and try to do that. And also, don't feel bad about taking your time. These builds take way longer than speed builds show. These are sped up a lot faster, so these take a long time. And at this point, this is gonna end with nothing on the inside. There's like no decorations, no wallpaper, no interior done whatsoever. So, and this was at least an hour and a half or something probably of time just putting a shape on the page. It's definitely faster with a reference because don't have to think too much. So at this point, I use a lot of constraint elevations in this one, which can be a fun cheat, but you do got to be careful because sometimes you can, I call it breaking the build, but basically it's like if you accidentally move a wall where you didn't mean to, and then you get weird terrain stuff going on. So at this point, I'm trying to replicate the actual painting of the build. And in this case, I'm just completely mimicking the color palette and everything else going on with this build, the dark colors around the roof, and then the wood patterns and the white texture there. I add in a bit of this like gray concrete wall here just to break it up. I'm trying to get better at using more of a variety of colors, especially with this style of builds. I honestly feel like when I build in a more modern type style that they feel really flat because they're so boxy. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how I always feel when I'm building these. So I definitely was going off reference pictures for these because this is a style that I feel like I don't do that often, and I want to get better at it, but I truly try to get better at everything. And this is sort of a weird town I'm building in. It's almost like experimental in a way about what's going on there. So I'm trying to throw around the color palette. The back of this house is completely out of my brain because there is no backyard to reference, which again, I've used multiple references in the past. So it's like if you got the front of a house and you're like, I really don't know what to do with the back of the house, I don't know, use another reference. That's fine. Mash them together, meld them together, try to come up with a different pattern. In this case, I'm kind of doing this thing to get some stripes. So you gotta got the black stripe going around the white, so it's not just all white on the white tile there, and that looks pretty nice as well. So just trying to break it up and give it just a bit more color because even though it's pretty monotone and very few colors going on, you know, wanted to give it just a little bit of, trying to give it some depth, because like I said, I always feel like these type of builds feel very flat to me whenever I build them, and it normally sucks because I'm like, the style is not bad, and I struggle with it. At this point, I'm just sort of adding in just a bit more details around the parts. I put this super low fence to border the roof and border some of the upper parts or just decorative parts there, just because I just didn't want it to be completely flat and just having the flat roof there. And then I'm putting this glass thing here because I intend to make this part right over the garage being like a balcony where Sims can actually go out there. Maybe you can put a couple lounge chairs out there. Again, there's no furniture in this house when we're done. I am actually in the process of decorating this house. I've only done the first floor, so I don't even really have anything to show you guys at this point. I have to finish decorating this. I don't record everything I do in this particular save. This is more of like a personal save where I'm slowly building this world up, and just about every building that you see here is a shell and has nothing inside of it. So they look cool on the outside, but they are completely unfunctional and they do nothing right now. So maybe when I get a little further in decorating, we'll actually do a bit of a tour. But if you want to see a process like this, not sped up to 3 times its speed, I did actually do a reference picture shell build on stream. So if you want to check that out, you can, where we kind of build up a house from a reference picture similar to what we're doing here and build it up in real time. I don't talk through the process really. I'm mostly goofing off talking to people in chat at the time, but if you just want to see it done in real time, you can check out that stream instead of this. But it's sort of the same process there. It's just looking at a picture, and I always have it up. I have 2 screens on my computer. So one screen is normally the reference and probably a true crime drama or something, because I like true crime documentaries. So I'm probably watching true crime like YouTube on one screen with a reference picture and then building on the other side. So that's normally how these are going down. Windows, which is what we're working on right now. I struggle with Windows so much. I don't know what that is with me and Windows, but the choices of Windows for me can take a long time. I don't know if it's just me or what, but I like Windows, but then I don't want to put too many windows because I feel like they take over, and then it's hard to do the inside of the build because the windows are everywhere, but then I don't want the build to not have windows because then it's just a wall. You see my struggle? I struggle a lot with windows. It's an issue for me. I don't want to overdo the windows, but at the same time, I want the house to have enough windows so that we have some, like, you know, some nice natural lighting. So again, I'm trying to mimic at this point the sort of like the house reference. I put the glass doors here, so you have this little like porch, side porch, and it is a side porch. It's not even connected to like the front door porch. It's just a side porch over there to the side, and I'm just trying to give a way to go out there. Again, this is a tiny build, and you do not have to build this small. By the way, I like this game because you can't really tell somebody how to do anything, and that includes building. This is just me trying to give tips about how my process of building, but I like tiny builds. It's just something that I enjoy doing, is small builds. They are a routing nightmare most of the times, but I like them. It's a problem. I have a problem, but I enjoy going through small builds. So this again is a 20 by 20 lot, super tiny. So there's not much that I'm going to be able to squeeze into the interior of this house, though I do amaze myself with how much I can put in there and then complain about how bad the Sims can move around in it because they can't move around very easily. So at this point though, I'm moving on to the interior, and here's the struggle. And this is where I am completely just going off of what I feel, because there is no interior. I don't have a blueprint at this point. So now that I kind of got the shape of the house in a way that I like for now, I'm sort of trying to figure out how can I lay out the inside and sort of utilize the most of the space. I like to utilize a lot of space. I don't like empty space, and that's a personal thing. Everybody's different. Some people might enjoy having a lot of empty space in their Sims house, which is probably a good idea because I was just talking about routing, and I'm pretty sure having more empty space is a good idea. I unfortunately like to torment myself, so I don't like having huge empty spaces in my houses, in my Sim houses, because I don't know, it makes things feel unfinished to me personally. So I'm trying to figure out how to like kind of section the house up, and downstairs obviously I want to do a kitchen and a dining room and like a sitting area, and I'm trying to figure out a way to do that without completely closing them off, because I didn't want the downstairs to be completely closed. I kind of wanted it to have clear sections, but I didn't want it to be completely closed. And yes, in the back is a little what do you call those, like a little greenhouse where you can put like plants and grow some plants indoors, just in a modern style on a modern house. I thought it would be fun to kind of have that like little greenhouse attachment or little sunroom or something there, but you know, just done on a more updated or modern house. I like putting like little glass doors and entryways so you can see into there from the inside as well. So trying to do windows in the sides of houses is another thing I struggle with, because I feel like the sides of my houses are very, very flat. They're like straight walls, and then they kind of end up making like a face, or they're just like the same windows in a pattern on the top and the bottom floor. So it's nothing wrong with that. I don't know, I feel like it looks repetitive when I do that, and then it starts to bug me, but there's nothing wrong with doing it, and I do think I delete and change windows as I start working on the interior. I'm playing around with steps here because this is a tiny build. The spiral staircases work great for them, but they are, again, a routing monster. The spiral staircases have caused me so much grief, but yet I use them so much, mostly because I like to make small builds. It's like torturing me. I don't know why I like to do that. It's like I like tormenting myself. I don't know. But at this point, I'm trying to figure out if there is a way for me to get some different type of stairs in the build. So at this point, by the way, I've stopped looking at a reference. There's no point to at this point, because I kind of got the base of the house out there, and I'm playing around with the interior, which I don't have a reference for. So I start to change the outside of the house to fit the way I want the interior to look within reason. So I'm trying to see if I extend this wall out and I try to put a staircase there. Does that work? I try a bunch of things. I undo a bunch of things. I never feel bad undoing things. I do when I'm making a speed build out of it. I kind of feel like, oh man, people are gonna have to watch 5 minutes of me do this just for me to decide I don't like it and then undo it. So I apologize if that irritates you with any of my speed builds, because I do it a lot. I am very indifferent sometimes, and like I say, I kind of go in, especially to the interiors, blind. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just sort of winging it at this point. There is no real plan. So I'm trying out a bunch of stuff, trying to figure out how to work some stairs in there. I was trying to see if I can get the straight stairs in there, because again, these spiral staircases are monsters, but then I didn't really like it. I thought it was eating up too much space, so I ended up deciding that the spiral staircases were probably the way I was gonna go, and I ultimately end up undoing everything and putting it right back to the way it was before I started it. So yeah, that happens frequently in my building process. And again, this was me just building randomly. I don't even know if I intended to ever actually release this as a speed build. I just recorded it, so I figured why not, seeing as I still haven't really sat down to do any of my like gameplay. I've been building mostly, so I thought I would release this video. So I'm going upstairs and playing around with adding the doorway and giving a bit of an extension so that we could use this as a outdoor like balcony or patio, playing around with some of the room sizes. I extended the room over one so it sort of hang over this lip over the back door, and then I'm giving a bit of a back porch type style here, where I put the walls in the same little windows like we did before, so it's kind of like almost an enclosed back porch, but not exactly. I also let me extend the rooms a bit. I'm trying to see if I can get the bedrooms to be a little bit bigger. Well, I don't really care if the bedrooms in my sim houses are massive. I did want them to be just a comfortable size so that I can maybe get a nice little family in here. And then I wanted to move the garage. Constrained floor elevations, this is when it becomes a pain in the butt, because you always have to flatten that out to fix it, especially when you're doing like attached garages and stuff. So gotta make that like first floor match, and it involves making sure that you're flattening things correctly with that cheat on. And I always turn it back off. If you ever notice the cheat box pop up a bunch, when I'm done with constrained floor elevations, I try to turn it back on as frequently as I can. I should probably do the same with move objects more, because I end up getting the weird doors or windows that are like look like a wall because I've accidentally placed something over them. But constrained floor elevations is a must to turn on and off when I'm done with, because I have wrecked builds before, have no idea when I've done it, and then had issues trying to fix it because the floor was all types of wonky at that point in time, and it becomes a nightmare to try to fix depending on how far you've gotten. At this point, I'm again fiddling with the rooms up there. I'm trying to decide if I can make this comfortably like a 3-bedroom house, or if I want it to maybe have 2 bedrooms. I don't do large bathrooms either, so you can probably tell where the bathroom is in my mind here, because it's normally not very big. I don't really make large bathrooms, mostly because my Sims don't spend a lot of time in the bathroom, so I don't understand why I would need a massive bathroom. It's something that I just normally don't do in my builds, even when I'm building like a mansion. My bathrooms are tiny. I was considering extending walls at this point. Some of them I do, some of them I don't. So again, at this point, the reference has been ditched. I'm really not looking at it anymore, just sort of trying to make this work. And I'll fix the roof to continue, because every part of the roof kind of has this lip, but I'm trying to see if there's a way that I can get just a bit more space in this hallway, because even with the spiral stairs, I kind of felt like my space was a bit kind of eaten in that area. So extending this wall out a bit and taking away some of that balcony, which again is fine. I'm probably not going to put much out there except for, I don't know, like a telescope or like a couple lounge chairs. So not necessary to have a bunch of space out there. I don't really need that much space to be in that place. But now we have to fix the roof again, because I use constrained floor elevations up there. So I'm just gonna add in the rest of the walls, flatten it back out, and then change all the wallpapers and fix the roof. So It's not too bad to use constrained-fill elevations. Sometimes it can take a bit of practice. Once you kind of used it a bit, it can be a bit easy or a complete annoyance. So if you just want to avoid it, that's totally fine too. Adding back in some more windows and like the doors here, but ultimately this is pretty much the end of the build here. I play around a bit more with the room sizes, but at this point, that's kind of the process. This is typically how I build. This chaos, this randomness, but it's not all completely random because I do normally have a reference, but in terms of what goes inside of it, it is in fact just almost winging it, and just trying to make something that looks nice. And a lot of times I don't come up with that right off the top of my head. It is normally coming from a picture of something that I found on Google, because Google is my friend whenever I'm about to build. So I just thought I'd make this random build video since I hadn't had anything recorded to actually release. I will eventually get back to gameplay when I get bored of building, which give it time. Give it time. I go through phases with this game. It always happens. But that's going to be it for this particular video, and I am going to end it here. I'll let you guys watch the rest of it, but there shouldn't be too much more left to it. So thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video, then please give it a like, or don't. That's up to you. But I do hope that you'll come back and join me for more Sims 3 speed builds here on the channel. Thanks all. Bye-bye.